All right, what's up, guys? First off, if I happen to move out of the way and you see the wreck that my apartment has become, I apologize. But I wanted to talk today about muscle. So you'd think it would come up a lot more often, and obviously it does come up a lot when discussing fitness. But I feel like when people get so focused on like getting down to that like shredded look, and they're looking for the six-pack abs, and like they just want to be really cut up. I feel like certain muscles that have way more bang for your buck don't get as much attention as they deserve, and B, people forget that there's more to carrying around muscle. There's more benefits to carry around excess muscle mass than just looking good and being strong. So very briefly, obviously, it's awesome to carry around extra muscle. You feel good, you look good at the beach, but it also does really good things for your metabolism. And I've discussed this a few times before, but it's kind of threefold. So looks good. It also allows you to look better at higher body fats, which is cool, right? Because then you can bulk for longer and still feel good about yourself, which is again good for sustainability. Which is the name of the game. But I think that sometimes people forget just how much a difference it can make, that boost in your metabolism when you carry around, much more muscle mass. And it's kind of something that motivates me in the long term. Like I have my plan, right? So part A of plan was to get super cut up. I don't know if I'm super cut up yet, but I'm feeling good. I feel okay taking my shirt off. I'm okay going to the beach. But plan B, in the name of both looking good and sustainability, was to add some more muscle to my frame, and that's going to be coming up. And that's because I know that I'm investing in my body, and I'm investing, more importantly, in my body's ability to burn calories. So that number one, that should be it right there. But when I was back in college and I was focused just on being strong, and I didn't really care how I looked, or at least I didn't notice how good I didn't look. I was carrying around probably at least 10 or 15 pounds more of muscle. And what that did is I could eat, 2,000 plus calories a day and still be in a deficit. If I had to guess, I think my maintenance calories in college were somewhere around 2,200. And even just like 100 calories difference over time in how many calories you can eat, you'll feel it. If you're in a cut and you're aiming for 1,500 calories and you have to go down to 1,400, like that, you're gonna feel that it hurts, and it goes the same way in the opposite direction. So like if you now are able to burn off 2,100 calories instead of 2,000 in a day, it's gonna feel better. You're gonna protect yourself from days where you might go a little bit overboard, but B, it's just way easier. It's more sustainable. So like I think that most people, if your goal is sustainable, lean fitness, it should absolutely include adding a moderate to significant amount of muscle to your body, and that includes everywhere, including your legs. Your legs are like a gold mine in this sense, because if you have big legs, like your legs are some of the biggest muscles in your body. Like my legs right now, I believe, weigh somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 pounds each, muscle wise. And if you're looking for a way to add to the number of calories your body can burn, like your legs should be on there, because you can do a lot of damage there. But what I also wanted to talk about was some of the kind of the muscles that go unnoticed, that you can get a lot of bang for your buck for. So if you're new to lifting, and you're just trying to like look big and muscular, you're probably hitting the bench, you're probably doing lots of bicep curls, and that might be, your main area of focus. Maybe you're hitting the legs, maybe you're doing some back. But I feel like one thing that people don't focus on enough is their shoulders, and two muscles in particular. So first off, the easiest one you can do is just your traps. I mean, there's lots of guys out there who are huge, like bigger than I'd ever want to be. And they like tons of muscle, huge arms, huge huge deltoids, huge shoulders, but they clearly don't pay enough attention to their traps. So what they get is this like really unnatural looking, like sort of harsh V shape at the top. It's like slant up, this nice taper up from the waist, that aesthetic that we're all looking for, and then it's like they're cutting off a huge aesthetic. And it's a really, really easy thing to gain muscle in your traps. And what it does is it gives you that like powerful, like rounded off look to your shoulders. So I really think that anyone who's like lifting for aesthetics should definitely be hitting their traps. And it's really, really simple. Like, it's not rocket science. You got to shrug heavy. My favorite thing to do is I usually take just a barbell. I take it down from the top of the bench press down to the third rung, and I stand over the bench with the bench between my legs, and I put anywhere between 185 to usually 225 pounds. And I do 3 hard sets of 10, and I just shrug, and I try and get as high as I can to activate, the entire trapezius. And I think you're going to be, you'd be shocked at how fast you can make results there. And it evens out your physique. It makes it look more aesthetic, more natural. And at the end of the day, like, looking natural is what looks best. That's why, you see movie stars, they have like a strong, powerful, but natural looking physique. They don't look bulky like they do steroids, or like they spend 15 hours a day hitting biceps and shoulders and nothing else, because that's not what people like to see. It's not attractive. It's not aesthetic. So I think that traps are a big thing to focus on. But also, I think that there's a lot of guys out there. So I'm moving on from traps. That's number one muscle that you should give more love, more bang for your buck, especially if you're new to lifting. And also is your shoulders in general. That's why I'm a big fan of the incline dumbbell press, because it's really good for the upper chest, filling in the top of your chest. So you don't have like a barrel chested, like big at the bottom and then kind of like slant up. It also looks, it doesn't look the best. But you're also really activating your delts. But I think my favorite shoulder exercise, I know a lot of people say military press, and I mean, hey, you can get strong with military press, but what you're going to be doing with military press is you're going to be activating, yes, your deltoids, but a lot of your triceps. And I just feel like I don't need to spend time on my triceps because I'm already doing flat bench and incline bench and just wrecking my triceps doing that. So when I'm focusing on my shoulders and strengthening my shoulders and adding size to my shoulders, my favorite exercise to do is the lateral delt raises. I usually do a little bit of an angle. So some people will stand there like this, like a robot, and go, and I mean, that's not going to be ineffective. You'll still be able to succeed in adding size that way. But I find that I can get the most like strenuous, intense, and bountiful workout when I do kind of like a, look at that, like an upward, sort of an upward raise like this with my arms just angled out a little bit to the side, and that way I can add on more weight. And what I like to do is I like to start usually with 22.5 or 25 pounds. And I'll do those just until I can't anymore. And then I'll drop either 2.5 or 5 pounds, and I'll do 3, 4, or 5 sets, depending on how I'm feeling that day. But the difference that I've seen when I started really focusing on that is the shoulder, when you do it right, it's going to make you look bigger overall. First off, if you look at like the Clark Kent, like Superman look, the big deltoids, you look powerful, you look like a superhero. But it adds contrast to your arm, so that that's going to make your bicep, your tricep, and your whole arm look bigger because it adds that separation. And I mean, that's what you're looking for, A lot of people, when they're trying to get big arms, they hit the curls, they hit the triceps. But if you hit the shoulders, like, you can look big without even being big if you just have that separation with you have big shoulders and like decent sized biceps and no tricep. So I just think that's a really good spot, like where those two spots in particular, your traps and your deltoids, are a really good spot for like bang for your buck. And what I mean by bang for your buck is like, yes, you should be focusing on adding size to your chest, to your lats, to your legs. It's going to take time. I mean, like all muscle building, But because most people don't, I personally think most people don't spend enough time on the traps and the deltoids, you're going to see a lot of progress really fast just because your body's like, oh, we're working these now. And you're just going to start adding muscle on that you didn't realize wasn't there. And it just really adds to your aesthetic. And obviously it's more functional, you know, like lifting something up, you know, that's all shoulders. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. So like, add muscle in general. Long-term sustainability wise, the more calories your body can consume without gaining fat. In other words, the more you boost your daily maintenance calories through muscle, the easier it is going to be to sustain your diet. Because I'll tell you what, no matter how much discipline you have, eating 1,500 calories a day because your maintenance is like 1,800, it gets really hard to sustain. So if you're able to get your maintenance calories up to like 18, 19, 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, it's going to be easier for you to go into a cut because you still get to eat a good amount of food. And like I said, sustainability is the name of the game. So that's why I think that the legs should get a lot of attention because you can pack muscle on there. It's your biggest muscle, so it's going to be one of your biggest burners. And just in case, I know I didn't really explain, I mean, I'm sure most people watching this know this, but the reason that adding muscle boosts your metabolism is because muscle burns more calories at rest than fat does. Now, the research is kind of, you'll read one thing here, one thing there. I've seen some places say, you know, a pound of fat will burn 2 calories at rest, whereas a pound of muscle will burn 6. But there are other studies that estimate that number may be as high as 13 times as many calories per hour per pound of muscle your body's burning, as opposed to fat. So it's just like an efficiency thing. Like you're making your body into a fat burning machine the more muscle you have. And I attribute this to, you know, the whole, I think it's kind of a myth, the idea that some people have, you know, just they have better genetics, you know, so they can eat whatever they want and not gain fat, you know. So don't get me wrong. I have some friends who don't have that much muscle who can eat way more calories than I could ever eat and maintain my physique. Some people are just born with naturally higher metabolisms, but I think a lot of the people out there who you see who seemingly are just bottomless pits, they can eat whatever they want and they're still skinny, just carry a significantly more amount of muscle mass. So long term, your goal should be leaning down so that you're creating that positive feedback cycle. You know, you're making yourself confident, you're improving your aesthetics, which is going to create that positive feedback and it's going to make you want to do more, right? And then just low-hanging fruit. The traps and the delts are just overall going to make your physique more aesthetic. So that's just something I've been thinking about, something that's, you know, been a positive change that I've been able to implement into my routine. So I hope you guys, you know, like what I have to say. Let me know in the comments, you know, if you think differently, if you think there's other muscles that don't get enough love, please let me know. I'd be happy to hear. And other than that, you know, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a few days.